Okay. And it looks like we're live. Okay. Alrighty. So it is Tuesday. It is episode 97 of Time Out Tuesday. And today I am kind of interested in speaking a little bit about something that I really first learned during a earlier part of my career when I was in the technology industry. A lot of what I was doing was a lot of software development, managing large groups of IT people, and financial industry mostly, some software development companies as well. And very often when I took on a new position, I was either replacing somebody who had been in that position for a very long period of time, and the team that I worked with, the team that I guess inherited, had been there for a very long time. And in those cases, one of the things that I learned kind of early on is that, people get sort of stuck in their ways. And if you come in with like a new way of thinking about things, people are not all that readily interested in jumping onto your bandwagon. And what you wind up is having a lot of conversation that includes the phrase, "We've always done it this way." And it works, so we've always done it this way and it works. And that became sort of problematic for me trying to move things forward in certain organizations, because I had people that were kind of stuck in their ways and weren't really all that interested in readily adopting new concepts, new methods. And I wound up adopting, I'm sorry, I'm just looking something up because I want to read it so I don't get it wrong. I wound up adopting a way of looking at the world that is not unique to me by any means, but I think was best said by Thomas Paine in a fairly famous quote of his, where he said, "A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right." Meaning that if you do something for a really long period of time, everyone just kind of thinks that this is the way it has to be, and we just kind of continue doing it that way. And that's not something that I've thought is a great way to look at the world, especially when you have things that are rapidly changing like technology. And so I tried very hard throughout my career to always be very open-minded and see what new things are coming out and how those new things could possibly supplant things that have been in place for a really long time. And, not with the goal of completely disrupting the entire universe, but adopting the best thing at a particular time, to try to move things forward. And interestingly, one of the things that has happened in more recent years with my martial arts training is very similar. Martial arts training goes back, hundreds and hundreds of years. And very often you might encounter people that say, well, this is the way it was taught. This is the way it was taught. And therefore it should never be changed. And philosophically, I've always felt that as an art, something is always supposed to be changed. It's supposed to be looked at and analyzed and improved upon or modified. And a true practitioner of any art would strive towards improving the art itself. But another thing that I learned in my previous career is that sometimes if you make many changes to something that exists over the course of time, the changes that you make could actually, over the course of time, negatively affect the system. It could wind up not working properly because you made too many different changes to it. And there are times when you need to basically shut that thing down, rebuild something from the ground up. The concept of iteratively developing something over time is a really good one, because it does provide people with little pieces along the way of development that they can explore and try out. Maybe through like the course of like developing something new, you could wind up, sorry, I gotta get my dog who's badgering me here. And now I'm gonna have another one that's badgering me too. So here we go. Ready for this? 2 dogs. There you go. All right, so let's see if I can do this with 2 dogs on my lap. So the way this really kind of plays into my martial arts training is that over the course of many years, we've learned things that were handed down for hundreds of years. And some of them we've changed and modified the way we're teaching them. But recently, I had an opportunity to work with some very senior people in our system of martial arts. And we were working on a particular area that has, over the course of my own training, changed not only in how we execute these techniques, but how we teach these techniques. But interestingly, over that same course of time, I've managed to notice that a lot of our students are struggling with some of these concepts. The older students seem to be able to get it, but the newer students were struggling. And we kept trying to tweak the way we were teaching it, but we never really totally unraveled it and really explored it. And then we had an opportunity to work with some of these very senior people, and they showed us some things that were very, very eye-opening to myself and some of the other senior members of our teaching staff. And we've got to the point now where we're actually decided that we've got to really kind of dismantle the whole way that we've been teaching it and start revamping it so that it's not only more teachable, but more effective. And in our early experiments with a whole bunch of our students, some of which who had never learned this and some of which that did have learned it in the past but were struggling, we sort of set up sort of like a control group to see, whether or not what we're looking at is accurate. We actually learned that it's much more teachable, much more effective. It causes more pain. That's how we kind of measure effectiveness in things. And it reminded me of how important it is to always explore everything that you're doing and really kind of ascertain whether or not what you're doing really still makes any sense. And the other thing that I remember someone once telling me was, don't fall in love with your own work. So just because you maybe make some changes and turn things to be taught a certain way, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily perfect. And if you fall in love with your own stuff just for the sake of it being your own, you could wind up really kind of harming your students in the long run. So I try to encourage everybody to really maintain an open mind, really look at things objectively every single day, and don't be afraid to change things. Change generally is good. Sometimes the change goes all the way back to the way it was taught maybe 500 years ago. Who's to tell, really? But in any case, that's my Timeout Tuesday for today. Be open-minded. Be a warrior for change. Be accepting. Reevaluate everything all the time. It'll keep you on your toes. And not only that, but frankly, it was very exciting to see that this can be done better and more efficiently, and I think it's going to really benefit all of our students, and that makes me happy. So that's really it for today. I don't really have anything else other than I hope everyone is having a wonderful day today, and I will see everybody at the dojo. Peace.